Author's note. Still not feeling great. I woke up from a bad night's sleep with horrible cramps and pain in my stomach. My little break from writing didn't do much, so I figured I'll just plow on ahead. The sooner I can get this story out, the sooner I'll be able to put it behind me again. I've added a link to the main symbol I'm referencing in some of these images after getting a few PMs asking to see it. It's extremely simplistic, but I think represents something else. I don't think there are any negative effects associated with just looking at it, but if you're worried or concerned, simply don't click the link at the bottom of the story. I'll post more tomorrow. Be safe, everyone. The weekend was a mess of anxiety and apprehension. I called Elia once on Saturday and on Sunday to check in on her and make sure she was okay. By the time I got her on the phone Sunday afternoon, she sounded pissed. Look, it's sweet that you're all worried, but everyone's been calling me all day, all weekend. I'm fucking fine. I'll see you tomorrow. She hung up abruptly. Jay was off hiking with her parents all day. I got a few of the others on the phone, but there were no solid theories on what we might have stumbled into. Elia wasn't talking much, and apparently was over all the phone calls she was getting. It was 1996, so there wasn't much information on the internet, or even much of an internet at all. Still, I got a call at 6 p.m. Sunday night from Sheena, who hadn't been at the sleepover on Friday, but had been since filled in on what happened. "You got a sec?" she said when I took the phone from my mom. "Yeah, we just finished eating. What's up?" "Okay, so I've been keeping track of all the symbols that we've seen on the door. This afternoon, I slipped into a chat room on AOL called Esoterica. Usually it's just a lot of Wiccan fluff and throwback New Age stuff from the 70s. But sometimes a few hardcore occultists float through and spew nonsense for a while before being booted by a mod. I decided to scan in photos of that big symbol that Lorianne first saw in the middle of the door, and the other symbols that Elia remembered, and post them all to the room, just to see if anyone recognized anything or knew what it might be. I heard the shuffling of papers on the other end of the line. Most of the conjecture didn't seem to go anywhere, but one guy, user Enoch Live 77, he said some stuff that kind of made sense. Enoch Live 77? Yeah. Sheena sounded embarrassed. This chat room was pretty intense. Like, people believing that they're vampires and stuff. That was definitely not the weirdest username I saw. I sighed. Okay, well, what did Mr. 77 have to say? He said he recognized one of the symbols at the top of the door, the one that looked like spokes on a wheel. He said it was an old Sumerian sign called Dangir. She pronounced it like danger, but with 2 eyes, and that it meant, like, God or deity. He said that if archaeologists usually find it on plaques or carvings or whatever, and it comes before someone's name, then that means that person is some sort of deity or higher being. Sumerian. Like the oldest civilization. Remember in history class we did that whole Mesopotamia thing and we read Gilgamesh for 2 weeks? Sheena paused, adding, Jay almost failed her final because she kept slipping her headphones in during the class readings. It was when she finally got Frog Stomp and she could barely function unless she listened to it at least twice a day. Oh yeah, Jesus. I glanced over my shoulder to check and make sure my mom was still in the living room and slipped into the hallway dragging the phone cord with me. How would anyone in a chat room know that? Apparently they geek out hard over this stuff. Okay, so one of the marks on the door means deity, special superpowered person. Did they say anything else? Well, once we got on the Sumerian track, he mentioned that another symbol right below it could be one called... More shuffling of papers in the background, and then Sheena's voice butchering the pronunciation. Uzbalkit. He said that some people are still arguing about the meaning of some of these words. This one sometimes means rebel or revolt, but it can also mean to, like, turn something upside down or reverse it. He said he wasn't sure, but that the second meaning would make more sense in this case. So what? So the top of the door reads God reverse? No, it would be more like God upside down, or the upside down God, I guess. Silence hung over the line. The quiet static of landline dead air hissed faintly in my eardrums as my heart pounded. Finally, I spoke up. But this is just from some dude in a chat room, right? Yeah. Sheena sounded uncertain. Honestly, Kat, none of us know what the fuck we're really doing here. I think it was fun when we started, but now I just feel like, I don't know, like we're way out of our depth. Even if what this guy is saying is totally wacko, what you guys described that happened on Friday night, I just don't think we should play anymore. I don't either. I unwound the phone cord from around my finger. It was wound so tight that the tip of my index finger was starting to turn blue. Okay, I have to go. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk about what you found out then with the others. Sweet dreams, Kit Kat. Ha! Bye, Sheena. I was late to school. My alarm once again failed to wake me, and my mom was pissed. She told me she wouldn't let me stay over at anyone's house anymore if it kept throwing off my sleep schedule. I told her that I had been sleeping badly. She blamed the computer, and too much TV, and whatever else she could muster up before telling me that I had to lay off the pop from now on. I kissed her cheeks and slid out of the car without a word, heading towards my second period class. By lunchtime, I was already dragging. My stomach was queasy, so I didn't even get food. But I bought a huge 16-ounce Jolt Cola before finding the table my friends usually sat at. Elia wasn't there. She's at home, sick, Aubrey reported gravely. Something about her stomach. Her mom said she puked twice this morning. We all stared at each other for a moment. Guys, this is getting really fucked up. I listlessly twisted and untwisted the cap on my plastic cola bottle. Yeah, Lorianne slipped a hand on my shoulder briefly. I feel like we need to stop playing, but I also feel like we need to undo whatever the hell it is we just did first. She absently rubbed her forehead. I haven't been feeling well either, like, kind of sick, and I sleep like shit. Surprisingly, everyone else started piping in. Apparently no one in our group had gotten a solid night of shut-eye in the last week. Well, if you'd like to sleep even worse, then pay close attention. Sheena then related what she had told me the previous evening. She had pulled out her copies of the symbols Lorianne and Elia had drawn and spread them out over the table, pointing to the one she was referring to. After she was done, everyone was pensive. We have to help Elia. There's no way she's just conveniently sick after going through the black door. Aubrey was staring down at the symbols, brow furrowed. So, what do we do exactly to fix it? Everyone looked at Jay. She was chewing pensively on her lower lip, eyes thoughtful. When we pulled her out, she was behind a door, and she couldn't see a way to get back to the clearing. Maybe we should try to send someone in and get back to the correct entry point. Maybe doing it the right way will set everything back to normal? Everyone thought about that for a moment. And what if it doesn't? Lorianne asked pointedly. Well, we don't have a better plan. We can't leave things the way they are. We broke the rules, and I don't see how going back in could make it any worse at this point. But maybe we can make it better. Jay stabbed at the cafeteria spaghetti on her plate with her fork. Anyone else have a better idea? Silence. Great, then we're doing it. Sheena piped up. So who's going to go in next? Everyone took that moment to study their lunch trays closely, avoiding eye contact with anyone else around the table. For fuck's sake, I said, exasperated. I'll go in. We'll plan on tomorrow? Jay nodded. Tomorrow, then. That night, I fell asleep over my homework twice. Each time, faintly, I swear I could hear a low, far-off rumbling, just at the edge of my hearing, with a slightly louder whop, 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 whop layered over it. I'd wake up maybe 10 minutes after drifting off, my head splitting and my face crumpled forward against my textbook. The second time when I awoke, I found I had drawn a small symbol in the corner of my spiral notebook paper. A single circle with a long horizontal line across the top and 3 smaller lines below. The same symbol Lorraine had seen on the black door. I felt that we were all spiraling, that Elia's current state would befall all of us if we just left things the way they were. I knew that if someone didn't do something, my own situation, and everyone else's, was only going to deteriorate. Maybe there was no way out, really. But I decided that night, as I settled in for a fitful round of sleep, that if this was my last time entering whatever realm we'd tapped into, then I'd try to make it count.